let my subscribers know who you are.
Oh, okay. My name is Eddie Floyd Jr. Uh, when I moved here about 16 years ago from Detroit, Michigan, that's where I'm from. And if you ever like music or anything like that, Detroit, St. Louis even has some things going on here, but Chicago, New York, um, across the pond, London, they actually started something called Southern Soul, or Northern Soul, I'm sorry, not Southern, Northern Soul. And they would actually be some of the first to play soul music or black music, even before they were doing it here in the States. They would do it in the middle of the ocean. And my dad, he would become a real intricate part of that because I grew up in the music industry in Detroit. And among those artists would be the Temptations, the Supremes, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, and all of them that I'm mentioning, I know them personally because that's what I grew up in. My mom was a jazz singer, my dad R&B, and I'm Junior, so if you Google his name, you'll see that he is in over 160 soundtracks and movies. He's only had a day job when he was 17. I think he worked only 3 days, and then after that, he's been a music producer since the age of 18. And he's written music for and performed with James Brown, Johnny Taylor, Bruce Springsteen, Eric Clapton, Janis Joplin, Sam and Dave, Tom Jones. I mean, the list goes on. He just recently was here in St. Louis to visit me because I started something here called the Legendary Film Festival. Just right up the street here, Luther Ingram's son, we hang out every weekend. His name is Eric Luther. And so on my Facebook, that's pretty much all that are there is just celebrity kids because we kind of know each other and we either find each other some kind of way. And because of the age of Facebook, that's what's been going on. So I don't have any personal friends that are unrelated to music or film.
Wow. Shit.
I also have a brother. Well, I have family. I'm the oldest. I did have one brother passed away. My mom passed away. I was born on her 24th or her 18th birthday, September 24th. And like I said, she was a jazz singer. I still do have my father. He's 88 years old. He was here June 6th through the 8th. I had an event and I was giving out awards to legendary artists. Even one of your home artists here, Robbie Montgomery, she was the background singer for Ike and Tina Turner and the Ikettes. She also sung background of some of my dad's music too, as well as Gladys Knight and the Pips. Ray Charles background singers did some stuff. He wrote one song called Knock on Wood that was re-recorded more than 350 times. And he owns his own publishing. And that's the one thing I would share with anyone that's out there that wants to get into the music industry or in the entertainment industry, is publishing is where the money is. The tours, nah. Tour is if you're not owning the publishing, then yeah, you'll tour your brains out. But the tours are brutal. You're in different time zones, you don't get a lot of sleep, and you get really tired. And so touring is really not where it's at, but you have to let the fans see you. So of course you got to make the tours, and that's how you promote the music that you write. But if you were a writer and you own the publishing, you can sit home and write for other artists and become filthy rich, and no one ever even recognize you walking down the street. And it'll be because you're on the other business side of it, and that's where you really want to be. You can be famous and be broke, and most of them are, because they're famous, but you can only, just like a regular job, you can only work 8 hours, and then after that you go home and you land down till you go back to work. But when you're on publishing, It's playing in commercials, it's on television, it's in the schools, the radio. Anytime it's being played in a club, they have to list what song they play so that you get paid. So that's paying money while you sleep. And that's how to get rich if that's what you're seeking in the entertainment, is that you want to get on the publishing side. You want to know contracts. Because though in the music industry, there are devils in that. And the devils are them and as well as in the details. So you might want to look at definitely the contracts, but I always say the big print give it and the fine print take it right back from you. And so, oh, gosh, hold on, I got a phone call. I don't know who this is calling from Florida. Hello, hey. Always trying to sell me something. That's the hazards of, they want to borrow, lend me, give me, and can I borrow? Never pay back, so I don't get into that, but that's another subject. But my advice is to, back in the day, it was talent first and then business. It's sad to say that a lot of the artists out here today, they're not really talented, but that's okay. Hey, if there's somebody willing to pay you, go make your money. But today it's more business and not so much talent. And so everybody wants to be a rapper. And it's sad because we really need more doctors, lawyers, and even police, so that the other guy can quit whooping your ass. We can get along with each other. So we might say, hey man, go home. So you don't want to get rid of the police, you just want to bring the ones that you know that live among you. If they live among you, they know the things you go through. I'm from Detroit. It was predominantly a white police force, and then there came a guy named Coleman Young. And he changed that force, and then I could get pulled over, my plate is expired. They might say, hey man, go get that plate fixed. And I'm on my way, because he know you, he know the struggle. And so he not out there to hurt you, he just say, hey man, go ahead, and you good. And so you do want that, but you don't want somebody that's in the suburb come in the neighborhood and try to police you and tell you what to do. There's no love. And so therefore you do need that, but we need doctors, we need architects, we need lawyers, because even when I was coming up, and I'll be 69 years old next month, and when I was in college in the late 70s, early 80s, it was only 1.8% doctors. It ain't that far away from that now, and that's pretty sad because we need them. I can't stress that anymore. Architects, AI is coming on, so it's going to take up a lot of the jobs that you see today, customer service jobs. Even driving is some form of getting hindered by AI. So stay ahead of the curve. Read as much as you can, because the more you read, the more powerful you become. That's the one thing they can snatch your money, but they can't snatch your knowledge. And so if you got your knowledge, you can build up that bank account again real fast, because you know exactly what moves you need to make. So always build your skill set and stay focused. That's one thing my father would tell me: laser focus. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And here's a short story for you. My grandmother asked him, when he moved from Alabama to Detroit and met my mother, and he was a young man, he started the music industry because of his uncle Robert West, who was into real estate but then sold his real estate and opened 6 record labels before Motown. And then half of the staff, including Berry Gordy, Diana Ross, and them, they were once working for my uncle first in Detroit. But my dad, he had a job for maybe 3 days, but my grandmother asked him a very poignant question, and that was, what do you want to be? And that was all important, because here's the point. He said, I want to be a singer and songwriter. And she said, well, what if you don't make it? He said, then I'm going to die, because I'm not going to do anything else. And he didn't. And he's a multimillionaire. So what I'm saying to you is, he was laser focused. He knew exactly. Did I suffer in that? Some of it. And that sufferment was I didn't get to see him that often. And so maybe as a kid, you get mad at your parents, you know, you want them around. And so, but in the end, I understood, and I thanked my mother before she died. I said, Mom, I owe you. And she said, why? I said, because you could have married a bum, and you married a millionaire. She said, yeah, you owe me, baby. But I would have probably preferred that he was a janitor, because I would have rather spent more time with him. But like I'm saying, I understood the mission as I got older, and I appreciate the mission because I carry on that legacy that he left behind. Well, he's still here, but I'm just saying. And by the way, this year he received a Grammy. He was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame along with Jay-Z. But he also had to go back to Memphis because a friend of his named Lester Snells just did the soundtrack for Sinners. And so that's the crowd I'm blessed to be around. Is I drive a bus for Metro, but I can leave here and go hang out with some of the superstars, Bruce Springsteen and their children, or any of them, because of the relationship that I have being born in this. But that's not the real world. This here, you guys in St. Louis, is the only family I have what I'm married into, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been a beautiful ride, 16 years. I hope I can put in 16, 20 more of it. I love it, because you guys have been wonderful to me. I try to return that same favor to you, because my family is scattered all over the world. I was going to mention my brother Alan. He's Jay-Z and Beyonce's tour manager for the last 20 years. So in my home, I do professional photography, and I got all kinds of photos of her, life-size photos, all the way down to 11 by 17, and I've been doing that for her, taking concert photos, and specifically for her for the last 17 years. And so that's my thing. I'll be here shooting probably Patti LaBelle in a couple of weeks, but that's the thing I like to do, is photography. My wife, she writes novels. She also writes movie scripts, and she just recently was executive producer for a movie up in Columbia, Missouri. I don't know when it'll come out, but it's for BET, and it's called Deadly Visitor. The director, Aaron L. Williams, I believe is his middle initial. But gosh, I could go on and on, but I don't know,
Please do.
yeah, but the one book, if you guys are out there and you really want to get involved in this, I can't stress this enough. There's a book, and it's probably old and it may be updated, and you may find something that leans more modern that's still saying the same thing. But the one that I know is called What You Better Know. Not what you should know or what you ought to know. What you better know about the music industry, because it's going to teach you contracts. It's going to teach you what you need to see and what you don't want to see in that contract. The other thing I would stress to you is, if you're going to write music, learn your craft. Learn your craft. Learn to read music if you can. Learn to play instruments. Take the negativity out. Nobody really gives a damn about, you got a triple beam scale. We heard that all. Everybody had a triple beam scale. So what? Some scales were bigger than others. Okay, so we done that. Take the N word out, take the bitch out, so you can make the kind of money my dad is making. Because what you don't know is that soul music, and that's still yours, because over in China and them, they learning that music and making a killing. While you're thinking, oh, well, that's old. No, that's your legacy. And you need to know that. That's your legacy. You giving it away. And I'm here at least old enough to tell you this. Do you need to pause it? And what I want you to really hone in on to what I'm saying to you is do some, like I said earlier, my dad, and I don't think many people do that anymore, but he had a song that was re-recorded by other artists over 350 times. And that's money. If, let's just give you an example. I do a song that maybe sold 3 million copies. And then later you come and sing it on American Idol or The Voice. I'm getting paid still. Or they play it in a commercial, I'm getting paid. They play it in a movie, here come another check. And I'm hearing it, I can hear my dad's music playing in Dilberg's or Walmart, and they're 1,000 stores all over the nation. And those are different checks. I don't care if it's 10 cents, 20 cents, $1, it's steady piling up. And it's his, and that's the golden part. The music is his for 150 years. He's not going to live 150 years. Guess who's going to be there getting the money? You're looking at him. Okay? So I can sit back, I can go drop $5-10 million on something and never realize I even did it because of the legacy. So that's what I'm saying. When you're doing serious music, that's passing on that legacy to your children. But if you put nigger, bitch, and all, that ain't going nowhere. That's just like selling drugs and you go to somebody and say, hey, how was them drugs? Oh, they were good. Can I get some more money? No. It's short term, what I'm saying to you. It's short lived. But when you write some serious stuff, they can play it in the schools, the marching bands, in the college. And that's a check, steady going to you. My dad hasn't, well, he still writes music, but I'm saying he hasn't had to hit the stage at all. And most artists don't. After a while, they get tired, they go into producing. Why? Because they're getting paid to sit back and chill and not have to sweat and be all over the place because they're working hard. That's the artist, not the writer. So you want to write. So that's the main thing you want to do. The writing is all important. And you want to own the publishing. And if you're in the studio, you want to own the master too, because that's what happened. You remember with Prince. As a young man, he doesn't know. And when he opens his own studio, he takes the master, that's the real. He's thinking, okay, well, I'm writing, I got the publishing. He's thinking that I put all my money into the master, so I own the masters. So now he's thinking he's the boss. But that contract that he signed, he found out that they still own the master. And how is that? I bought the studio. I bought the real, I wrote all the songs up. I was all up all night. Nobody hit a lick at none of this shit that I did. And you gonna tell me that you still own the master? Yeah, you didn't read the fine print in the contract. And that's when he put that word slave on the side of his face, because he realized that's what that equate to, slavery. That I'm gonna pay for everything and then they still own it. And so then he had to go out, and there's been a lot of different artists. They had to be able to break the contract. They have to go out and even I think it was Will Smith, he left to go do acting, but he still was beholden to that contract. So he had to go back in the studio and cut maybe 2-3 more albums to get out of that contract. And then he can go on where he's going. But just think, he go and do this for them, but who owns the masters? The master does. And that's what make you a slave, is because the master still holding. And I'll give you some other information you may not have known. And this will come before me. This, of course, educated from my father. In the 20s and 30s, way before you were born and me, my dad was born, he was a baby. They didn't allow you to write music. You didn't know that's where the money was. You thought, as I said earlier, you could be famous and broke. They thought famous meant money. No, famous mean everybody recognized you when you went by. But they don't know what's in the bank account. And so here's the problem. They didn't allow you to write because they didn't want you to know, first off, and most black artists back in the day, they couldn't read or write, and that's what they would hope for. All they know is you can sing your ass off, dance your ass off, maybe play an instrument, and so they got you. And they pump out the writing in the studio. They had their hit makers write. Then you go in there and record. Guess what you gonna get paid? What is called mechanical pay. And that's if they play it on the radio, they heard you, and that's up to a certain point. And after that, that gets cut off, and that's where that touring comes in. You better tour your ass off because you're not gonna eat. So eventually you decide, you don't know this is why you're struggling, but later you decide, hey, damn, I was at home and I wrote a couple of songs, I want to put that out. And they go and tell you, hold on, we got our hit makers already, we're doing good. We already got people writing, and you buck the system because you said, no, I want to write. And then they realize to themselves, damn, he may find out publishing. But they go, what can they do? You, they artists, so they scared to tell you no, so they slide another way to it. Yeah, you can go ahead and write, and what they'll do is sneak in and write with you. So they co-writing with you, or they have the contract written that they get a certain amount of writing credit, even though they didn't write a damn thing. Still got their hands in your publishing. But before that, you weren't allowed to. And then here's another thing. After 20 years, the music goes into the public domain, meaning that, you ever heard that song, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, that was in the 30s or whatever? The reason you hit a radio station and say, well, we play oldies but goodies, guess why? Because we don't have to pay the artists. We get commercials, and the commercials are paying us to put their commercials on. And we're playing the oldies but goodies, but the oldies but goodies artists not getting a dime. Why? Because it's out of 20-year-old, it's now owned by the public domain. I can do with whatever I want, and I don't have to ask the artist nothing. And that got changed up a little bit. And that was an artist named Sonny Bono, and Sonny and Cher, but he also was a congressman for a moment. And they came up with what's called the Bono Law. And that was any song written should be owned longer than 20 years. So they bumped it up twice. It went from 50 years, and they said, nah. Then they did it 99 to 100 years. And that is why, if you remember, Pharrell and Robin Thicke, they was able to be sued by Marvin Gaye's family. Because they probably have the publishing, and when they came out with that song, everybody know it sound like Let's Get It On, whatever it was. And they take it to court. They find out, it's heavily influenced by it, and so much so that they're using almost beat by beat and everything, that you could just drop out Robin Thicke's thing and drop in Marvin Gaye's lyrics, and we're good to go. So we know that you're ripping that off. So that's why they pushed that law up there, to make it that you own your music for that many years. But again, you need to own the publishing for that to be true. Because if they own the publishing, I don't care how many years and is it true that some artists probably have gotten killed because of their music? That would be the reason. Because sometimes an artist is more he's more beneficial dead than alive. He's more, because it's just think if I had Biggie's music, and I hate to put that, or Tupac's, and I got it, their music. And maybe they thinking about leaving. And I go, damn, I can't let my bread and butter go. And he living, cussing, starting, you know, the rap game, talking about each other. Well, hell, I can have anybody popping and nobody will know who the hell did it. They'll blame you if you were on stage, you two battling, and you ain't had nothing to do with it. But because you guys are saying things like that, you know, negativity, if you talk negativity, you bring negativity. So if I have somebody bump you off, nobody knows that that happened. And then I grab the publishing, and guess what? I'm making money while you're dead. And then Michael Jackson, we could look at him. He was worth a lot alive. Hell, he just made $100 million and he's dead. And that's because whoever has that publishing all over the world, they still playing his music, still buying his music. And so his family, his children will never, ever, ever have to go to work. Never, not in a lifetime. And then their kids and their kids will never have to work. Why? Because of what he did. I just hope they appreciate the legacy of what he done.
Can I photobomb? Can I photobomb?
Yeah.
How you like us now? Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. We got to get St. Louis right. The world has lived wrong long enough. It's time to live God's way or no way. Put an end to this war machine. We don't need that stuff. It's taking all our money. Amen.
So that's all I have to say to you is that you want to learn the business end, but my God, I really wish you consider other careers, because there are guys that are out there making more than a rapper could ever possibly make. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, that asshole that did the
Oh, you talking about
Elon fucking Musty.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that if you use this, you don't have to go out there and try to, you know, you see somebody doing something and you think that you, and then I would say this, as much as I hate to bust a person's bubble, when I hear them say, oh, I'm a rapper, first thing I'm thinking is, if you're talking to me and you're beyond, I don't know what the age range is to get out of it, how you may look like a senior citizen to somebody, but I would say to me, and I'm 69 next month, if I see a kid come up to me talking about, I want to be a rapper, and he's 30, I'm like, damn, you missed it. You missed it about 10 years ago, because I would think you needed to start your craft at 5 or 6 years old. And by the time you're 16, 17, the record label got you. And you're on your way, and they probably finally put you out there on the performance stage after you maybe say 20, 21. Now you're an adult. They don't have to ask permission from the parents, and they can push shit all night long. But if you are still talking about you 30, talking about, forget it, in my opinion. I'm not saying you that's don't take that as absolute. I'm just trying to say that at this point, the battle, the mountain climbing, Mount Everest, is what you're doing at that point to me. Now, my dad would say this, it's too late to catch up, but it's not too late to catch on. So yes, it's true, but you can do it another way. Get off the stage, pen to paper, publishing, and let old young Buck go do it. Don't let him write. Don't let him write.
Just let him perform.
He don't know shit yet.
Right.
You know, he can't talk about nothing but peanut butter and jelly. So he don't know shit. So you write for him. He don't know no better. I hate to say it, you're gonna be using him, but hey, he'll learn. So you write, produce, put him on the stage, let him rock it. Both y'all get paid. Nobody had to know that it was a 30-year-old that never made it. That'd be you. So you still get the chance to make it. and you ain't had to, get arthritis from falling off the stage and jumping, because your body gonna pay for everything we do. It pay for it in the long run. So you see them doing gymnastics and jumping up and down. Ooh wee, how? Well, when he hit my age, he gonna go ooh wee, and they gonna say, yeah, you remember how you used to? Now you gotta take that money and give it to some painkiller, or some doctor or whatever to try to help you. So if you use your brain, you won't be in pain. Yeah. I wasn't trying to rhyme, but that's a fact. Use your brain, you won't be in pain. And
I appreciate this interview, man. It's just this is like the first interview that I'm speechless, like mentally.
Yeah. Well,
I appreciate this interview.
No problem, no problem. I've always felt that an older person should always be willing to talk to a younger person as well as listen to them. And I know sometimes I'm not a good listener, but I try. Because, here go another one. Well, this might be my stepson. Hey, what's up? You can come down. I'm over here in the park on the right, not the dog park, but the other side. And yeah, I'm just sitting over here. Somebody's doing a podcast, and so I decided to do an interview for him.
Okay, that's what's up. I'll be over there in a minute. I got my kid first on put the blankets and stuff in the bags in the car.
Okay. All right.
You need me to grab anything out there for me?
No, I actually don't.
I'll be over there in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so you were saying?
Yeah, it's the first interview that I'm literally speechless. I learned a lot because I barely learn from others because, but like when you listen to other people, you know either he or she, they kind of sort of know what they saying, but overall they don't. But this right here is everything that I need to hear, and I'm learning a lot just right now, mentally, at this moment.
That's good. What I was saying earlier, I've always felt like we should talk to, especially us. When I say that, because we quick to give up on us, and I don't ever do that. I always thought that if I see another older black man and he said, well, see, they're the young people, they don't listen. First thing I'm thinking is, motherfucker, when did we actually start listening? Last I checked, I didn't listen. I thought I was the brightest thing in the house. That my mom was lucky to have me there, because I don't know how she made it without me. That's what I thought when I was a teenager, 14. Told her, hey, I got this. And then I got locked up at 30. No, even before then, I believe I was maybe early 20s, I stole a car. She dreamed that I went to jail. And she called me and asked me, where was I? And I said, she said, because I dreamed that you went to jail. Now, I should have thought about that because I got a stolen car parked outside my homie's place. But no, dumbass me want to give her my friend's philosophy. And that was this. See, Mom, you was dreaming. And nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Well, an hour later, I was in jail. And I called her. And she said, where you at, Junior? In jail. What did you do, Junior? Because she ain't done no more jazz singing. My dad moved on with fame and fortune before he came back our way. So I got a stepfather installed. She got whatever income she could bring in, and I think she had all about $250 in her purse, and I had a whole shitload of cases. Judge has told her put them dollars back in your purse because you'll be throwing good money after a bad situation. So what I'm saying is, I try to talk to a young person because what we don't know is that our experience, in my opinion, from what I've learned when you're young, is right here. You know good, everyone knows right from wrong. That's the thing I try to tell older people when they're ready to crucify a young person. And I tell them, I said, well, we all know right from wrong. That's not the problem. We don't have the experience of what happens after right from wrong, like 20 years in prison. We ain't did that yet. So we just did the quick, let's steal the car. And then somebody got shot or hurt. And next thing you know, and all the things that we weren't intending to happen, happened. And now we faced with life in prison. We ain't did that. Had somebody set us down and said, hey, let me talk to you about what happens after, not what happens during or what happens before. Let's talk about the person you will be after. Like you now 40 in prison, no kids, no wife, no job, none of the things now your brain is fully developed and know who you would have been can ever be. And that's the part that I'll be trying to talk to. I'm talking to that person, the person that you are not yet. Okay? Like when you were a kid and somebody said, what do you want to be? And you say, a doctor. But you, at that point, you are a doctor. You're 5 years old, though. But that's who God placed in your heart to be. But then somebody along later on don't take that and cultivate it, grow it, and walk you into another life. Oh, yeah, I'm selling dope. I'm a different doctor. And then next thing you know, you're in prison. And then you change. Now, what you don't know is that when you're a baby, your brain don't fully develop till you're 25 years old. So they can send you off to war at 18 with a baby brain and tell you, oh, you're an adult. Yeah, at 21, you grown, that's true. But you don't have 21 years of grown experience. You have nothing other than a young adult's experience, which is little to nothing. You can't even hardly buy a beer. That shows you how much nothing you know. But they're not going to tell you that because you're expendable. We can send you to war to get killed. You old enough. You 18. But you didn't know that the thing was against you was they didn't give you a chance to mature to a point where you then begin to know exactly who you are. And even when you see a young kid do good, and he's a good listener, the reason he's making it, but even then he can tell you some bonehead decisions he made. Maybe he became a rapper, he got all his friends around him, he think they are friends, and he buying them and helping them out and doing all this stuff. And then when he broke, they gone. Or when he get in trouble, they scared to tell him, don't do that, man. Why? Because he feeding them. So they let him do stupid shit. And then when he get caught up, then they know something. I wouldn't have never did that if I was him. They smart now while you locked up. So that's what I'm saying. As a black man, I feel like I'm supposed to talk to the younger guy. I don't give a damn if he's not listening. He can hear. I didn't listen, but later I could hear. And then I began to listen. It's just like that knock at the door. And you say, somebody's knocking. Well, at that point you hear. Doesn't mean anything. But you're not going to open the door, so then you put your ear to the door, and now you begin to listen. And then you say, oh, that's Mom. And then you open the door. So that's all I'm saying. There's a difference between hearing and listening. And so I talk to you regardless. If you can hear, I talk to you, and then I say, hey, now when you see these things happen, then you begin to listen, then you can come back and talk to this old man. And that's the reason you're talking to the old man, is because if you talk to just all young people that the same age, you're not really learning anything from each other than similarities, maybe some little things that are different. But the real experience is gonna come from the older person. And so you get you at least one old man in your back pocket. But let me tell you, not all old people are smart. Now, there's some dumb motherfuckers walking around and you probably see them laying around drunk. Them the ones I'm talking about. So what I'm saying to you is, whatever older person you choose as a mentor, you need to remember this. Do I feel any smarter than I did before we talked? And if the answer is yes, could possibly be your guy. But if no, keep it pushing, find that right one. Because it's a cheat sheet in life. That's how I would look at it. If you take a test and the test said, what year was Ronald Reagan elected? And you go, Ronald who? And then I whisper in your ear, 1980. And then you go, 1980. And they go, wow, you're smart. Why? Because the older guy that was there when you weren't there told you who it was. That prune-faced motherfucker in 1980, Ronald Reagan, who allowed drugs to infiltrate the United States. That's just me ranting now. You can do the Google and find that out. Iran-Contra war. And you find out that they allowed the drugs to come in so that they could fight that war over there, because the United States Congress didn't want to pay for it, so they found a back door at your expense, and it was called crack cocaine. But that's something you wouldn't know if you weren't there. You were born in the 90s or the 2000s. You saw the epidemic, but you didn't see the causation of it. You didn't see the perpetrators in that idea. And so that's why you want an older person in your back pocket, somebody that can share information, useful information that you did not know. And it's out there. Find that one and talk to them sometime. Tell them you want to learn and talk, because we willing, but a lot of times we don't, because of that bullshit I said earlier, them cowards that say, well, they don't listen. I don't care if they don't listen, they can hear. But I think it's a disservice that I don't say nothing. I give you a parable to prove my point. I'm 68. I have a new car. It's fully paid for. I got credit cards up the wazoo. I got money in the bank. I got no car note. I go up the road. I run over a bed of nails. I got 4 flats. No problem. I go in there, hey, give me the top of the line that you got. And slam that credit card on me and walk out and roll back the other way. You as a young man just went down the same direction. We both looked at each other. I didn't say shit to you. Why? Because I judged that you won't listen. You just got a job. You got a car note. You might have a Cash App card. You ain't got no money saved up in the bank. And you barely pass minimum wage. And you catch 4 flats and you only got enough money to get 2, and they may have to give you some donuts on the other 2 so that you can drive home. And you come back past me and you say, hell, man, I went down there and I caught a flat. Man, I had all 4, and your car is sitting sideways like this. And mine's a smooth rolling. And you say, but didn't I see you go past? And I said, yeah, that was me. I ran past those 2, and I got all new tires on it. It cost me about $2,500, but that was, that's chump change. And you say, damn, it wasn't chump. I felt like a goddamn chump, because can't even pay for half the shit I got on here, man. My car sideways and stuff. I got to try to get it home. How come you didn't tell me that, the bed of nails was there? Well, I started to say something to you, but you young, and you wouldn't listen. Well, you might say, young, hell, I would have listened if you told me that you just caught 4 flats. I wouldn't have thrown down. Would that be fair? that I didn't say nothing to you because I judged you, prejudged that you wouldn't listen.
Man.
What kind of bullshit is that? You know, so that's my logic when I hear other people. And another thing, now I'm gonna tell you, there's some things I like about getting old, there's some things I don't. Of course, I stopped drinking and any other drug, whatever. I stopped when I was maybe 24, 25, because I knew I didn't want to look like all the broke down people I saw. So I knew right then I wanted to look good going out of this motherfucker. So, and I do. I got a wife that's 18 years younger than me, and I ain't a bad looking guy, I don't believe. And I got girls that'll come at me at 20 years old, and they ain't never had to give them no money either. It's because I know how to talk. I'm smooth. But that's a different conversation. But what I'm saying to you is, as we get older, we tend to act like we grow wings. You know, I've always listened to my mom, and that's a damn lie. I grew up in the church, so what? That's the thing I don't like about getting old, is that when we get old, you aren't here to know the shit that we did, other than our friends who may be dead or in jail, or they know our secrets. You don't. And so we act like, you know, we have always had it together. We've always listened. We lie. We get amnesia about our past, unless our friends were there and said, nah, she was the biggest hoe on the block. And he gave away all his damn money every time he couldn't help it. He pussy wood. But if you're young and you don't know, I can always act a whole different person. And that's what I don't like about getting older, is that we get these damn wings and shit. But what I do like about getting old is a lot. And that is, you begin to get mature. You begin to see the tricks that you couldn't see before that was getting played. You can see it a mile away then. You know it right off. And when you try to tell a young person, they think you don't know what you're talking about. But they may not realize what you're really saying. It's just like you can meet a young lady or a young man, and your parents try to tell you something, and you want to stop them because you're thinking, how could they know, because they haven't met the person. And what you don't realize is they have met a person just like the person you are with. And you don't have to, and they try to stop you from saying anything because they know later you're going to come back and say the same way they did. Mom, he say he loved me. And then your mama trying to say, no, he just like your no good ass dad. That's how your boy's born. Your dad told me the same shit, but I'm trying to tell it to you. And then later you find out after 2 or 3 kids, yeah, he ain't shit. Well, that's where the problem is. When we're young, it's hard to listen. And then that's the thing, the key to success, and I'm gonna close with this, is the art of listening. It's hard to do, but if you can master that art, then you can be like Jay-Z. He left the rap world from this one part and became a owner. Put the suit on, took the hat off from being backwards. He took the boy clothes off, and he put on the men clothes. And so when you want to put on men clothes, you don't look like a follower. You see everybody else walking around, pants hanging out, that's a follower. That's not a leader. And if you ever want to know what your future is, I can tell you that, and this is probably where I should close. Beside the people you meet and the books you read, you'll be the same person 5 years from now. So if you don't change the people you meet and the books you read, you will be, if you're poor now, 5 years from now, same income, poor. Why? Because you don't realize that you're following instead of leading. And then if you want to know what your future look like, just look at your closest friends. That's why you are. If he's poor, you're poor. That's why. Because you two are having the same communication skill set, same conversation. Nobody learning a goddamn thing other than, hey man, what you been up to? Oh man, shit. Same old. Never the goddamn same. I changed that motherfucker right away. And I'm a Libra, so we don't even let you know we gone. We ain't finna explain or none of that. We in relationships either. We'll try to make it, but after a while, no, we're not gonna give you our exit strategy. We're not gonna tell you we gone. You will know we gone, because we gone. So Libras don't tend to have friends. I thought I did, because I thought if I knew you and you had my number, I knowed your number, that made us friends. But then when I started thinking about it, we ain't never hung out. We don't hang out. We ain't gonna hang out unless it's about making money. Them the only types I know. I'm not hanging out with nobody about nothing. And another thing I need to tell you, if you want to be like me or better than me, because you can be, you got all the years ahead of you. So you got a good damn chance to do that. And that is this. Value the most valuable thing in the world that you'll ever have, more than money, more than anything, and you can never get it back. And I know you heard this before. Value your damn time. People will rob your ass of it. You can blow off time doing nothing. You see it all the time. They can stand on the street singing, drinking, doing just giggling and shit. You can blow away your whole goddamn life, even scrolling on the goddamn phone, giggling at shit that don't matter. It's easy to be stupid. It's hard to be poor in the sense of you always have to try to occupy your mind when you ain't doing nothing with it. And so you're occupied with Google, you're occupied with games, you're occupied. The next thing you know, you're 50. And time don't wait on nothing. It steady moves just like that. You don't ever stop, even when you sleep. And you're getting older. In fact, we've probably been doing this interview for about an hour. You are 1 hour, 60 minutes older than you were before you tuned in.
Damn.
If we could have time-lapsed your goddamn face, you would have saw maybe a little bit of age just went on it. And that's because that odometer, 0 to 70, if you get that old or whatever, is steady going. And if you don't use it right, and there's people right now will take up all your time. If you ain't got nothing to do with it, they'll use it. If you ain't using it, they'll use it. Use it all away. And that's all I'm saying, is that you value your time. So here's another thing, and I know I'm enjoying this, so I know I probably said I should close it, but I'm really wanting you young people to really get this. It is so important. It means a lot to me, because I didn't listen. I don't know if I would have listened. I would like to believe I might have listened, but I didn't. And so therefore, I don't want to see somebody do the same shit I did, because I was struggling with what I wanted to do. I went to school for music, I went to school for law, and I also went almost to prison for 60 years. So I was 20 years old, and I got out and I changed my life, but I still was struggling with where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. And so I try to tell that to the young people, because we really deserve more than a second chance at life, because we already got people that hate our very guts just because we came in this world having nothing to do with our skin. Nothing. None of us in our bodies said, hey, before I enter the world, can I please be black? We didn't ask. So we don't need to carry, and life is a burden already. And that's the thing I talk to whites about. Life is already a burden. We don't need to go and add some extra insults to the shit. We don't need that. It's already going to assault our ass, whether we know it or not. and you have to guard your mind. Guard what you let come in. Guard what, because that shit rub off. I'm gonna give you a parable for that. We got 2 glasses of water. One's a good glass, one's a bad glass. The bad glass, I pour some oil in there. It's moving around. I don't care how I try to pour it out of there. It's still a bad glass. So let's say the good glass and the bad glass meet up, get to talking. And hey, bad glass, what you been up to? And oh man, I'm thirsty. So I take a little bit of my good water and pour it in there into him. His water's still dirty, still circling around. Then I get a little thirsty. Hey, bad glass, what you up to? I'm thirsty. Or here, take some of mine. And he pours some of his dirty into me, and now I'm dirty and he's dirty. Now we both just the same. Why? Because what you do rubs off. I couldn't change him because I poured some of my good in him, and he remained the same. Then he took some of his bad and poured it into my good. And in other words, what I'm saying is a bad person has a much better chance of changing your goddamn lifestyle than a good person changing his. So if you know somebody that's doing something, don't fuck with them, because they where they trying to go, and they got a right to go to nothing if they want. They got a right to be not a motherfucking thing, just like you have a right to become something. And so therefore, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, he my friend, and no, that's dumb thinking. Okay? That's dumb thinking. Everybody ain't going where you going, and they have a right to go or not go, and don't rob them of it. If my friend want to go to prison, don't rob him of going. That's his destiny. Ain't a goddamn thing I can do about it. I may hate it, but that's his destiny. Some people get there 2 times, 3 times, and never come back. That's where they were going. And you may be going a different direction. You just have to shed a little tear and move on, because where you going is where you trying to go, and you have a right to go there. So that's all I'm saying, is that you got a better chance. You have to really realize the moment you focused on what your life is going to be, you have just divorced half of everybody you know, even your family. I've been here 16 years in St. Louis. One brother came in once or twice. My dad came in 3 times. Everybody else ain't been here. They living their lives. As my dad would say, there are families within family. When you go away and build your family and your brother build his, that's your nuclear family that you're building. And your most important thing is them. Okay? Not, well, my brother, he needs some help, so he needs my money. No, he needs some good goddamn skills and good advice. Because if he don't have the money, he can't give it back. Now you have just taken away from your family who's depending on you to give to somebody else. Now, I know that sounds unloving, but it's a matter of survival and a matter of fact. That is, if you can help him do anything, help him build his skills, help him get whatever he needs to get him started, but never at the expense of your family, period. And I close with that.
It's been a pleasure.